out there. Subscribe to this channel.
What is up, guys? This is the Zeus, and today I am back with my review of Fear the Walking Dead Season 2, Episode 5, titled Captive. I've been very busy this week, but I'm finally home from college, so I've had a little bit of a slow uploading schedule, but now I'm back, so things should be fine. Anyway, this episode was a pretty good episode. It wasn't, in my opinion, phenomenal by any stretch, but it was a solid entry in the series. I don't want to just crap on Fear the Walking Dead because I do enjoy it to an extent. I would rather have the show than not have it because it's a nice filler between seasons of the main show. And I don't know if it's just because I'm having trouble connecting with the characters, or it's just hard for me to give my heart to this new set of characters after being so invested for 6 years, going on 7 for the main show. It's hard. I'm not saying that it's a bad show. I'm not saying they're bad characters or it's bad writing. I think it's fine. I just think we're so used to the higher level that's on The Walking Dead that sometimes when things go a little bit differently on Fear the Walking Dead, like a character making a stupid decision or something along those lines, and we're automatically jumping on them being like, hey, that's bad writing or so forth, or they're so annoying. And yeah, there are a few annoying characters, I'll give you guys that. Mainly Chris. He's basically like the show's Carl, but the Carl from seasons 2, 3, and the second half of 4 to an extent, where it's just shut up and do what you're told. Like that, it's the teenage angst that has been played through so much in a lot of different shows, and I think as the general public who watches the show or The Walking Dead or any show that has a moody teenager in it, it can be any show that's out there right now, basically, we're kind of sick of that type of thing. Is it realistic? Yes. So we can't be like, oh, that's so, people don't act like that in real life. They do. If us in the apocalypse, most of the people watching this video, we would make stupid decisions. We would make stupid decisions too. We would think we're capable of handling this or that, but we would mess up as well. So we can't be like, oh, if I was in this situation, I would do this, because you don't know what you would do under pressure in those certain circumstances. So to an extent, it's realistic that they are messing up. But in terms of television and viewing it and watching these characters learn and evolve, it can be tedious and it can be annoying. So I understand that. That being said, you can't blame the show for trying to be as realistic as possible within the world of a zombie apocalypse. You're trying to be fair here. I understand both sides. I think in this episode in particular, we can see that this spin-off, Fear the Walking Dead, has a lot of production value going for it. There's a lot of the cinematography is great. You can tell they have a decent budget, maybe even a little bit bigger than The Walking Dead, at least in terms of where they're putting their money into the visual elements of the show, if that makes sense. You can tell Fear the Walking Dead is using what they look like better cameras. I mean, I don't want to say the cameras or the lenses on the main show are bad, but there's always that gritty, a little bit of grainy footage throughout Walking Dead, and I think that's part of the design choice, the stylistic choice they wanted to have. I don't think it's just because they're using really low budget cameras. I think they're using high quality cameras. It's a different feel they want. They didn't want it to be all flashy and really cinema looking, But Fear the Walking Dead has that cinema look. A lot of lens flares, a lot of J.J. Abrams type lens flares going on. There's a lot of drone shots, showing the landscape, which feel like big budget movie type shots. We have the shot in this episode, Captive, where we see Alicia on the front of the boat, or the docked boat that she was being held captive on. And then the camera swings around, and we see the whole boat as well as the whole landscape. And from my understanding is that they were actually there shooting on location. That was not green screen she was on. They had the budget to be on location, have that production value for that shot, for that sequence, really. That was a real boat they were shooting on. I know the Abigail is half practical, half CGI. The boat is not actually moving in the water. It's basically a little half boat set attached to a dock that's within this giant pool that they used to film Titanic in. And that pool is right bordering the ocean. So if you got from the right angle, it looks like they're on the ocean. but most of that boat is CGI, and you can't tell, which it's really good special effects, or at least really good CGI effects. So you can tell the show has a pretty good budget, and I mean, I'm hoping it's not bigger than The Walking Dead, because The Walking Dead does deserve the bigger budget, in my opinion. And again, I am a little biased, but that's a good thing. That's part of that being us. I'm in college right now. I'm a film major. I want to direct one day. So from a filmmaking standpoint, I love what they're doing for The Walking Dead. But that's really the only thing that I really love about it, though, and that's saying a lot. Now, I don't want to trash on the show. I don't. I enjoy it. Like I mentioned before, I think it's nice to have in between seasons of The Walking Dead, but it's not blowing me out of the water. It should be. Maybe that's just a problem with me personally. I'm not saying that it's the show's fault or the writer's fault or anything like that. Maybe it's just me personally, because I know I've seen in the comment sections of my videos, a lot of you guys do love it. But I know a lot of you guys are not impressed whatsoever. So I'm trying to stay as neutral as I can here. But this episode, we're seeing a lot of the same problems, or at least, I don't want to say they're problems, but a lot of the things that people have been complaining about, at least that I've seen on Twitter, those problems are not getting fixed. Like, we're still getting the annoying characters, which I mentioned, in terms of the younger kids, mainly just Chris at this point, and Alicia. Although Alicia appears to be learning somewhat, because although a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, stop trying to flirt with this kid. I'm pretty sure for the most of that, I'm sure she had a little bit of a soft spot, because, they're some of the only, similar age teens alive at this point. But she was playing him for the most part, trying to gain his trust so she can escape and go back to her family. So she's learning. Nick is already just the biggest badass in the group. I love Nick. But Chris is the one who, although he is learning, he's still annoying. Travis is pretty useless at this point. He hasn't really done a lot. I kind of figured he would be the Rick of the group, and in season 1, it looked like they were going to start transitioning him to that role. But as of season 2, besides fix things like on the boat, he hasn't really done a whole lot. In this episode, he had the pretty cool headbutt scene and then punched that guy. So he is slowly becoming more Rick-like, but so far he's been underutilized. I'll say that. He's not useless, because I'm sure he has the potential to be useful, but he's not being utilized in the way that I think a lot of us expected him to. They're really giving Nick the bulk of the badass scenes and giving him the actual things to do. Like Strand sent him to go look for Luis on the island there, or offshore. They're giving Nick all these scenes. Nick is the one who discovered the Walker guts. Nick is the one that we started with from the very first scene of Fear the Walking Dead. So I would argue that Nick is the main character, and it's not even Travis and Madison, it's Nick. Travis and Madison are probably like number 2 and 3 at this point, followed by everybody else with Strand and Daniel and Ophelia and Alicia and so forth. But it's Nick's story, and I'm happy about that, because he's probably the character that people love the most on the show. He's my favorite character thus far. I love him. I love Strand. Just because he's a compelling character and he brings a lot to the show. And Coleman Domingo, who plays Strand, is a great actor. And I really like what they're doing with his character. Daniel Salazar is a badass. I like him. Ophelia hasn't been doing too much. She didn't do much in this episode either. It's too early. It shouldn't be too early to tell, but based on how they've been pacing out the character development of the show and giving them scenes, it's unfortunately too early to tell whether or not Ophelia will be a useful character or if she's just going to be Walker bait this season. Daniel is definitely a contributor. He has a lot of past experience with some kind of ex-military type deal, or maybe ex-cartel of some sort. I mean, he's tortured 2 people now. One last season, the military guy. Now, I don't know if he was necessarily torturing Jesse McCartney's character. He was kind of mending his wound, but at the same time, it kind of looked like he was kind of. He was poking the bear there a little bit, so to speak. But he's a badass character, and I'm hoping we'll get to see more of him. But like I said, he hasn't done that much this season either. Unfortunately, it was cool in season 1, the notion of going onto a boat. Like, oh wow, they're going to be on a boat. That's something we haven't seen before in a zombie television show. I know they get on a boat at the end of the Dawn of the Dead remake back in the early 2000s there. But I mean, we never get to see them really survive on a boat. So it's kind of new ground. We're like, oh, this should be cool. And then in the trailer, it was like, oh, it's going to be pirate or people who try to take the boat. It's going to be cool, like pirate, like modern day pirates, so to speak. But that was really, they didn't really dive into that. And that was kind of disappointing because I was looking forward to that. But unfortunately, them being on a boat has backed them into a corner. Yes, we have the scenes where they go off, like Nick went off to find Luis and so forth. And there's the scenes with Travis and Alicia being captured. But they can't really do too much on a boat. They're not going to be fighting hordes of walkers on a boat. Yeah, there's a couple of floaters in the water, but it's only going to make for a couple of jump scares like it has. Nothing else is really going to be great there. It would be cool to see some kind of maybe like a storm on the ocean. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. Maybe there's like a hurricane and walkers are getting picked up and stuff and flung around, like the scene where the cows are flying in Twister. That could be cool. I don't know. I'd like to see that personally. But like, I just think there's a lot of potential for this show to do great things, but they're not taking the leap that they need to. That's the best way I can put it. It's a good show. It's got solid cast, solid writing, but they're just not taking the leap that I think a lot of people want them to. They want to see someone big die, which I think they're building towards that. I'm not sure who. I kind of want them to kill off Travis at this point and just throw a curveball, because although I don't think he's the main character, I think a lot of people see him as that leader figure or main character type figure. So if to the general audience, if he suddenly died, I'd be like, wow, this show has balls. Okay, I see you through The Walking Dead. It'd be like that type of thing. But they haven't done anything spectacular. There have been some cool moments that I've enjoyed. And I don't want you guys to think I just want to trash on the show, because I want to enjoy it. I do. And to an extent, I am enjoying it, but I feel like I should be enjoying it more. Like I said, maybe it's just a problem with me personally and not the show, but those are just my thoughts. This episode in particular, just to get back on track here, I wasn't overly blown away, but I did like how they pulled a scene from the comics with the bag over the head. That was, spoiler alert from the comics, that was a remix of sorts of Holly's death. Negan kills Holly, and then the Saviors bring her back to Alexandria with a bag over her head, take the bag off, and she's a walker, and so forth. I'm not going to spoil anything else, but that was basically taken from that. That was a pretty cool sequence. Unfortunately, that was the last 3 or 4 minutes of the episode, and leading up to that, not a lot happened. It was just kind of a lot of Alicia talking to, I don't even know the kid's name at this point. Jack, yeah, his name is Jack. And he's like, what, you gonna go back to your family? Like, well, yeah, she's going back to her family. Like, do you think she's in love with you or something? You guys have just met probably a couple hours ago, maybe less than a day. So it's like, come on, like you're really mad that she's leaving to go back to her family. A little bit of that, a little bit of Travis locked behind a cell. Alex was in this episode, so to those of you who are all disappointed, I guess they used up the Flight 462 just like that. She's back. I'm sure we'll see more of her. She's kind of, I understand why she ratted out Travis and everybody, but it's kind of like, there's another problem. And I'm sure she'll be annoying now because of that, because she's going to have so much hate towards our group. But not, like I said, not a lot happened. The story is progressing, but they're taking their time. And I can't complain entirely, because The Walking Dead does that too, more often than not. They take their time with their storylines. And if you're going to do that, at least make it interesting like The Walking Dead tends to do. Like I said, I am biased towards the main show, so forgive me. I am a fanboy. Deal with it. But it's just, I don't know. I enjoyed the episode. I just think it could have been better. And I could say the same for the past 4 as well. They were all good. Could have been better. You can say the same thing for a lot of the main show episodes as well. But I want to know you guys' thoughts. If you are thoroughly enjoying Fear the Walking Dead, comment down below, because if you are, I'm happy for you. I really am. I'm happy that you're able to enjoy it as much as you are. If you hate it, like I'm seeing a lot of people are online, you're entitled to your opinion. That's okay. Good for you as well. We'll have the main show upon us soon enough. 149 days left until that. but just over a month and a half until we should be expecting our Comic-Con trailer with some pretty cool footage there. So this has been the ZeusTuber, guys. I give this episode a 3.5 out of 5 stars, and I'll see you guys later. Have yourselves a wonderful day.
And you are it.